Horizontal cateyes. They are at once one of the most recognizable as well as one of the most difficult poi tricks of the late aughts tech boom. Today, I'm sharing the secret to getting them down. Drex here from Drex Factor Poi, connecting you with your body and your brain through flow arts and poi spinning. And today, I'm showing off the trick that truly made me feel like I'd arrived as a tech spinner. Before we dive in, I just want to give a quick shout out to the friends of the channel. Big thanks to Dark Monk, Flow DNA, Flow Fests, Flow Toys, Pyroterra Light Toys, Spinballs, and Ultrapoi for helping to make the videos on this channel possible. You can learn more about all of these awesome companies and the work that they're doing to support flow artists like yourself by checking out the links that I've got down in the description of this video. Yeah, you know this trick. When I first started spinning, it was the Mount Everest of tech poi tricks, the thing everyone thought was possible and swore they'd seen a friend do, but for years avoided being captured on camera. At one point, you could count on your fingers how many people there were in the entire world that could do it, and it remains pretty rare even to this day. And once I finally got this trick down, I finally understood why. It requires really fast reactions and some very precise movements. Plus which, there are a few moments where you're working against gravity in a way that is incredibly challenging. But it is also not impossible. There's a very, very specific trick to getting this one down, and today I'm sharing exactly what that trick is. Because you know what? I want to see everyone out there doing this trick. But first, a little context. Cateyes are a family of elliptical poi tricks that are defined by the size of the path that the hand follows, namely a circle that is one poise width across, the same size as in isolation. Alien John first clarified the concept and applied it to a framework that he referred to as unit circle hybrids, and it suggested a tantalizing possibility, that cateyes could be performed both vertically as well as horizontally. It took a few years, but a small trickle of artists were able to add this unicorn of a trick to their repertoire and wow the rest of us with it. Cateyes follow the convention of anti-spin flowers in that as the hand is moving around a circular path, the poi is spinning in the opposite direction and both are completing a single beat at the same time. Some would say, in fact, that cateyes are the smallest possible anti-spin flowers, but that's a controversial topic that is outside the scope of this video. Because of a quirk of mathematics, these properties add up to the poi following an elliptical path rather than a circular one. And yes, I know that all circles are ellipses. For the math geeks out there, we'll just say that the path of the poi has more eccentricity than the path of the hand. We good? And unlike vertical cateyes, where the poi travels above the hand for a distance equal to the length of a single poi, horizontal cateyes require the poi to be above the hand for 3 times the length of the poi. That raises the difficulty a great deal. So now that we know what we're trying to achieve here, how exactly do we achieve it? We have to break this move down into 3 key components. It's counterintuitive, but understanding this made all of the difference for me. Think of the path the hand travels around as being something like a triangle. It's actually going to be much rounder, but this will help for purposes of visualization. We're going to call these 3 points the drag, the snap, and the catch. The drag is pretty self-explanatory. This is just a point in the hand path where you're dragging the poi from side to side under your hand like a pendulum. You can practice this by moving your hand back and forth across your shoulders with your poi hanging down beneath it. Make sure you're doing this in such a way that the poi comes to a complete stop on either side before you switch to the other shoulder. Make sure your poi and your hand are working in tandem. Slightly harder is the snap. This requires you to give the poi a little bit of a tug and drop your hand to let the poi spin above it. Think that you start from that drag going side to side, and on one side you slip your index finger under your tether and give it a sharp tug to pull it over your hand. Get comfortable doing this, and we'll add some movement to that hand. Once the snap feels relatively comfortable, you're going to want to drop your hand close to your waist as you're performing the snap. You'll know you've done this right when the poi head swings around past your nearest shoulder as it goes over your hand. I visualize this as moving my hand between the point where my clavicles meet and over near my hip. Alright, now we need to get down that final point of the triangle, the catch. Doing this involves moving your hand back after the poi head has gone past it to the other side of your body. Getting a feel for this can be a little tricky, so I have an exercise that you can use to train yourself on it. It's time to go back to one of my favorite tools for learning poi tricks, the the linear isolation. If you aren't already familiar with this trick, I highly recommend checking out the tutorial for it that I'll link to down in the description. In this case, what we're going to do is spin the poi and make like we're going to do a top stall out to the side. Rather than aiming to do that top stall high, we're instead going to try and just see if we can stall it out at or just below our shoulder level. As the poi head moves out to the side, sneak your hand straight up past it so that your hand makes it up near your shoulders while the poi head is popping out to the side. Get used to the feeling of sneaking your hand past your poi while it goes out to that side. You see, the catch in a horizontal cateye is really just doing the same move, popping the poi out to the side. The only difference is that you don't let the poi head go over your hand again until you get your hand back over to do the snap. Think that as soon as you've gotten your hand past the poi head, you instantly switch back to doing the drag, pulling the poi head back to the opposite side of your body. That is a lot to do in a very short span of time. It's not impossible, but it's going to take some training. Practice each of these individual components and then see if you can work to get 2 of them to work together at a time, and then all 3. Think drag, snap, and catch. Drag, snap, and catch as you move your hand through that triangle. One key piece of helpful information here. Think that in going from the snap to the catch, you're racing your hand across your waist to try and catch up with the poi head. Make sure that your hand doesn't rise above this point until you're ready to initiate the catch. Now at this point, a few of you may be noticing that this trick also closely resembles another poi trick, a linear extension. You can actually use linear extensions to train on this trick, but I'm a little hesitant to point many of you in that direction simply because there's a really high likelihood for learning bad habits with it. Lots of people will think that they've gotten the horizontal cateyes down when they can move their hands back and forth and spin the poi in an ellipse, but they won't realize that their hand isn't moving up or down at all. This stands in contrast to a true cateye, where the hand is moving up and down. Do a visual check and make sure. Is your hand moving back and forth between your shoulders and your waist? If not, you've got more work to do. Do be careful as you're learning this trick that you keep your elbow down and in a relaxed position. When I first tried learning this trick, I was doing all the work from my elbow, and because of that, I nearly threw out my shoulder. Be kind to yourself as you're training. And of course, if you get your horizontal cateyes down, the next step is almost always to master that most elusive of poi hybrids. Horizontal cateye versus isolation. Seriously, to this day, this hybrid looks like absolute magic to me and is a favorite to bust out on people. It never became commonplace, so it still packs a lot of mystique and wow factor. To get this one down, you're going to have to be comfortable enough with your horizontal cateyes that you can speed them up a bit, plus which you're going to have your poi isolations on lock. If you don't have your isolations down already, I have a course on my learning site devoted specifically to getting them down, and I'll even give you a special offer with this video to get 20% off the price of the course with the promo code CATEYE. A link can be found down in the description. So how do you put these two things together? The way I do it is via visual checks. That is, I want to see my cateye hand and isolating poi head going across the top of the trick, as well as across the bottom together. Think that your drag coincides with the isolating poi going across the top, and that'll help to synchronize the two. I really want to emphasize that up and down motion to your hand in the cateye here. Without that, the whole thing just turns into gobbledygook. But with it, the hybrid turns into pure magic. If you find that one hand is moving back and forth, but not up or down, you've probably fallen back into doing a linear extension instead. Make sure you see your hand switching up which one is high and which one is low as you perform this hybrid. Killer! This one is definitely going to take some practice, but when it comes to tricks with wow factor, it has few rivals out there. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe so that other people can find this video and help my channel grow. And a huge thank you, because this video would not be possible without the kind contributions of these wonderful folks right here. These are my Flow patrons over on Patreon, and they help make this video and all the videos on my channel possible. If you'd like to help me out in my mission to bring poi spinning and flow arts to the wider world and help people learn to be creative with their bodies, you can do so by heading over to patreon.com/DrexFactorPoi and signing up. You can get early access to all of my content, a say in what topics I tackle in the future, plus some great behind the scenes and extra content. So go check that out. Please and thank you. I know that there are other tricks that utilize horizontal cateyes, but I thought that horizontal cateye versus isolation were the ones that most people were likely to want to know. What are some other favorites that you have that make use of horizontal cateyes? Let me know down in the comments. Are there other tech poi tricks that you're struggling with and you would like to see me break down in this fashion? Leave me a comment and let me know, and I might make them the topic of a future video. Thank you all so much for watching, and be sure to take a flow break for yourself today. I'll see you next time. Peace.